All right, ladies and gentlemen, traders, welcome back to another Relentless recap. All right, guys, hit that thumbs up as you're tuning in. If you're a new viewer, consider subscribing to the channel. Unfortunately, red day recap today, down 691 and 47 cents. Not a bad red day, but today is a day we perhaps should have ended green. These last 6 trading days have been quite tricky. A good testament and reminder that day trading is hard. And ultimately, day trading is a business, unlike other professions, other fields, other careers out there where you get that linearness in terms of a paycheck. Every week you're getting, paid. Guys, this is a business and nothing is guaranteed. There's different levels of risk. There's different ways to evaluate and look at risk, right? Even at a day job. But when it comes to trading, when we show up, there's no guaranteed we get paid every single day, right? You could have a flat or a red day. And these last 6 days in particular for me has been quite the reminder because last month, the month before, it's like clockwork. You show up and I'm just expecting and I'm just seeing green. I show up, do my thing, 2K in the green. It's like, whoa. But these last 6 days, on the other hand, has been quite tricky. Starting off a little red, having to battle back, sometimes still finishing red. So we're going to really talk about the technicals here today on the main stock of the day, KAVL and SNGX. So, of course, hit that thumbs up. And before we jump into it, though, let's just quickly remember our disclaimer. All right, guys? Day trading, like any other business in the United States of America, is risky business. All right, guys? So keep in mind that if you're new, even if you've been around the markets a little bit, but you're still not consistently hitting your marks, guys, ensure that your tuition is low. Ensure that your risk is minimal. You can do so by using risk money, a small amount of cash that if you lose it, it doesn't affect your life. It's a very smart way about going about the markets. Other than that, utilize simulators. That's what I did. Paper trading simulators where you can practice trading these same stocks with an artificial account to build experience, right? These are ways you can help reduce your risk as you learn, right? As you build experience and become competent. Second, remember the live streams and recaps are never a reason to try and copy trade. You can't say, hey, Relentless is watching 510. I'm going to try to watch 510. You got to understand the strategy. It takes months, more commonly years to learn. All right. Lastly, I do not invest for my subscribers. What that means is I will never message you first randomly. I will never message you first at all. All right. So stay safe out there. There's a lot of fake accounts on TikTok, Instagram, Discord, and so forth. I will never talk about copy trading, mirror trading. I will never send you screenshots of my gains. I don't talk about options trading. Stay safe out there with those fake accounts, guys. All right, other than that, let's jump into it. All right, so stock KAVL, this thing out of nowhere halted up with some lighter volume. And what had me interested was the big resumption that it was showing. This thing, and I can show you guys my level 2 here quickly just to show you where how this thing was looking. So we're halted at 330. The bid by the ask spread as it's halted is showing 5 by 447, and it fluctuates every couple of seconds here, to a new number, right? And so I'm watching. Let's skip ahead here just for the sake of this. Yeah, here we have 465 by 465. So I'm thinking this thing might just resume higher, right? As we know, there's a lot of supply and demand. When it comes to the science, the mathematics behind these stocks and where they resume, right? Sometimes the market makers have to, match orders, and so if there's a lot of demand going into these resumptions, sometimes we can resume higher, right? And so that's what really had me interested. And at the time, I'm read at 1300. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch. Let's see how this does. And this thing resumes all the way up here around 530. It's saying 5, but I saw 530 and then it dips to 5. I bought that level there and then it rips up. I'm out. I'm in at 1,500 shares, out about 563, 564. Great trade. It dips back to 30 and then it rips up to $6 into another halt up. I did not catch the second move. A little disappointing there, but from the resumption, again, it got tricky. And I've been noticing that on the last week and a half, I have not been able to capitalize outside of the dip and rip. After this first halt move, it's as if I'm struggling. I mean, I not even as if I am struggling making money on the rest of the move. And this is usually where I'm excelling. This area here and the dip and rip is all areas where I'm excelling. So on one hand, I'm not upset that I tried to trade this move up and lost money, because this is where I usually do well. But on the other hand, it's like, man, why are we so inconsistent in these areas? And you know, I looked over some RENT, and I think I'm ultimately still falling victim to the same issue here, which is the lack of aggression on the dip trades. Some dips I believe are better to avoid. In this case, this first move down, okay, but once we bottom out here 45, I think I got to be in and trust the stocks a little more, give them a little bit more time. Not saying that I have to marry the trade, but I can allow the stocks to play out a little bit better. Getting a good entry down here, I think I was in again, and just sold for a couple cents. While this thing went from 64 back all the way to 550 and then 624. It's like, man, because sometimes getting back in becomes tricky if the stock is not volatile enough and and bouncing often, right? And this one kind of slow grinded, which is what really got me off guard. And throughout this area, I'm like, small green, red, small green, red. And so ultimately I'm bleeding out, bleeding out. It gets all the way up here, back at the highs, and it's like we had a false breakout in it. At least I thought it was a false breakout at the time. New highs, boom, right back down. Like, are you kidding me? But it holds up and it rips. And from there, we got all the way up to about 720. And this is where we started to feel that resistance. It's like the stock just could not keep going. This thing started struggling, man. It started struggling. Let's kind of move over here a little bit. It started struggling, and then we had this huge pullback. I thought it was backside. I think a lot of other people also thought it was backside. And I started ranting a little bit. I did see it here, didn't expect much. And I look back, it's already from, let's say, about 620, 615. Yeah, all the way to about 670. I'm like, are you kidding me? How did this thing move up so quickly? So this right here was definitely my fault. This thing gave a beautiful bottom. And sometimes these are the areas you really got to be paying attention to. For me, it's like in backside kind of territory, so sometimes I'm not watching. But I mean, lows here initially at 537, new lows at 528, only about a 9 cent dip below, and then it reclaims the level. And from here, it's where we started to build, right? A bit of a small flag, it comes up. Okay, it's not quite ready yet at VWAP. Right here, we get higher lows. These are the signs right here, higher lows. And then it wedges in between this level that we just had. And before you know it, right, we're coming back up into the VWAP area. So initial wedge here, it's coming up back into the VWAP area, rips through, and then accelerates. So, ultimately some stocks will be better to hold longer. And, I think this might have been one of those types of stocks. For me, just, a little tricky, man, a little tricky getting chopped out. And, I think a lot of just inconsistency, even on the upside move, having me be a little hesitant, right? Not connecting as well as I would like, not being in as good of a rhythm as I would like. And so when we come around to the dip areas, especially areas like this, not being super confident throwing out those trades. So I gotta do a better job. Just not forcing it in per se, but like pushing myself to still take those trades, even when I'm not as consistent as I need to be. It's definitely difficult, but it's what's necessary here, because that's how I gain the consistency again, by buying the trades in all the right areas, even when it seems a little risky. Even if I've been losing, I had 2 3 losers in a row. If it's a good entry, take the trade, manage risk, smile, let the stock do its thing. So over here it came up, break of the highs, pushed up to 969. Beautiful move. And then we started to feel that resistance again. It's as if the stock just couldn't get through this area here. We get green candles coming up, but it's just not going. It's like you could feel that resistance, short sellers coming in. And ultimately, after a couple minutes of consolidating here, we came back down. One last hurrah, didn't go, and right back down, and that was all it wrote. So I got to do a better job, man. It's like after the resumption trades, it's like I'm not doing super well. The first resumption comes, I'm able to get a nice dip and rip trade, All right, I'm able to get a nice dip and rip trade into the first, out of the first resumption. And it's like from there, it's just to the depths, you know? It was a decent trade here. Yeah, this was a decent trade. Like, you know, I'm in around, so it dips, so it resumes at 530 area. It dips to 5, and then I'm gonna buy the dip down here, and I'm gonna jump in right there. It rips up to 64, 75. I'm out. The dip here to 49 and 30 was a little tricky. It bounces back quickly to 50, and then it rips up to $6 into the halt up again. So that was our first 700. And you know, things just got tricky, man. Things just got a little dicey. We did do a good job recognizing the red to green here to get in. This was break of 550 area we attempted. So we're watching. It's like, hey, can we get over 550? So I'm gonna jump in here and I'm gonna watch for the retest of the level. Just 1,000 shares. I'm in. It jumps up there to 62. But you know, we got 47 by about 60 by 58. It's kind of, you know, tricky. And then I'm going to try again here with some more size. And then right here, I'm looking for the push to 65.70, 75.80. It gets up to 65, 69. You know, small quick trades, and watching for this thing to go. But once we got over our $6 area, man, it just became Chop City. If I could go back in time, I would just not even bother to go, because you know, just watching the sideline, observe, take notes, you know, and just try to improve from there, because this was just a mess, man. This was just a mess, a mess. I mean, just and I, you know, I did a decent job initially. I'm gonna get caught somewhere here. Let's see this trade. I think I'm gonna watch the dip down here around sub 50 or at 50, either or, and it's just not gonna go super well. So I tried 60 there, which is a little aggressive. Small loss. And I'm going to try sub 50, I believe, if I remember correctly. Man, sometimes it's just so tricky, man. Sometimes it's just so tricky. And it didn't quite break down. There's 50. Okay, there's 40, 31. And right here, I'm going to try the limit order. No fill. So I canceled the order. It comes down, right? And notice the spread here. This is what made it tricky as well. 620 by 644. Just massive spreads, man. Massive spreads. I take 27. I think this was a losing trade, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it comes down to 13. I think this ended up dipping all the way. I mean, it dipped all the way down to 5. And this was just disappointing. I marked it in here trying to just get a dip below 6. So right here, I was still in a good rhythm. And this is where it all kind of changed. Like, you know, and this is what gets me, the spread. So I'm starting to pay attention to 580. But I overlooked the ask price being so high. I think, hey, being that we're seeing a lot of red on the tape, the ask is going to be dropping down below 6. I should get a fair fill. Instead, it's a massive freaking spread. And it's like, come on, man. Just murdered in the spreads there. Murdered. This is instant loss. Just not worth it. And so from 1700, just bleeding out, bleeding out, bleeding out, bleeding out. It goes down. I left it alone. And this is where I mentioned it curled back up and I didn't realize how fast it moved up. I mean, areas like this, man. So back over 625. I should have been watching here, paying more attention. I tell you, man. I mean, all the way to 50, just almost immediately on the ask. And then ripped through 55. And then this is where I kind of start to realize, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like this thing is moving, right? But I'm already a little late to the show. It gets up to 7. It's like I missed the entire move from 620 to 7. And tomorrow again, bright and early. Let's see what we can do. All right, guys, hit that thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel. Check out those links down below. It's been Relentless Trader. All right, check out those links down below for Momo Pro, the chat room, and of course the classes. All right, guys. Check it out. Check it out. We got some big announcements coming towards the end of this month. We got the next day trading team house. It's gonna be a good time. That's coming up soon. In a few weeks, that's gonna come up. We're gonna talk about it more. Other than that, guys, tomorrow again, I'll be here. Best believe. Best believe tomorrow I'm coming again, man. I'm gonna be here every day. Every day, as many days as it takes. I'm not stopping. I'm not giving up. Just looking to study up, improve, one trade at a time, one day at a time. I managed risk today. It wasn't the day I would have wanted, but it's a day to still smile about, be proud of. I followed my rules. Tomorrow again. We lock in, man. Stay safe, stay green. It's been Relentless Trader. And I am, of course, signing out. Hit that thumbs up. 9:15 a.m. tomorrow.